You are now listening to Tuff Tiger Talk Flash Report.
Shout out to the LSU fighting family, man. Big Q representing Tuff Tiger Talk, man. Another weekly installment. Be up to this thing, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hype up the stream. We talking Tuff Tiger Talk, your LSU football. And then this one, man, Coach O is back. That's right. The Coach O returns to LSU. Coach O joins Coach Kiffin back in the Bayou. How about that? These guys are friends, and you've seen Coach O's been around football for a very long time. And guess what? Coach O is back, man. He's back with the team, man. And it's good to see him, man. He's one of the most beloved characters that we've had around the team in a long time. Everybody loves Coach O, man, and it's good seeing him back in with LSU. And of course, he comes back and he's gonna be acting as pretty much a consultant with the team, according to reports with Coach Orgeron, is that his salary has been released here, and it says LSU reveals Orgeron's salary and new role on Lane Kiffin's staff. His earning pennies on the dollar from what he's raking in as a head coach of the Tigers from back in 2021. So let's kind of get right into that story right here as we talk about it here. And AFB TV in Baton Rouge said that and it's based on the information that he will earn a base salary of $100,000 as LSU special assistant to the defense and recruiting in 2026, a stark downgrade from the $9 million he earned as a coach in 2021. We knew that Coach O was up for jobs. Nothing never really materialized as far as I'm concerned in that role. And Coach O loves LSU. It's good to see him back with the team. Who say you can't go home? But Coach O, $100,000 to recruit. He's a hell of a recruiter that helped us out in the state of Louisiana. Not only that, but the fact that his acumen defensively, his appreciation on the defensive side can only help Coach Blake Baker on that side of the football improve. Can you understand how really impactful that is from a defensive standpoint to have Coach O affiliated with Blake Baker's defense on a Lane Kiffin offensive led team? It's just ridiculous, man. So the salary, which is part of the term sheet signed by Coach O, says that Orgeron will receive either a courtesy vehicle or a vehicle allowance. If Coach O prematurely ends the one-year contract, he will owe LSU the remainder, unless Coach O gets a head coaching or coordinator job in either college football or the NFL. So his hire reunites him with LSU coach Lane Kiffin, as the two enjoy a decade-long relationship. The duo worked together at USC and Tennessee, last collaborating with the Trojans in 2013. It also brings back the coach who last led LSU to a national championship, as Orgeron-led Tigers went 15-0 and captured the 2019 college football national title. Coach O coached 2 seasons in Baton Rouge after the 2019 season, going 11-11 in that span before departing the program following the 21 season. His head coaching record is 51-20 with a national championship. So it's good getting Coach O back in the building, man. It really is. And having that championship experience, a lot of the former LSU coaches love this decision by Coach Kiffin. He's embracing what the new coach Lane Kiffin's bringing in. Is actually embracing the past. Guys like Fahoko and others are really happy to see Coach O affiliated with the team, as opposed to the previous administration that really didn't want any connection to guys or players. I don't know why he would do that, but in the end, it was his folly. But I think it's a terrific move by Coach O to be back with the Tigers with Lane Kiffin. He can only do wonders helping them with the recruiting's already strong, but getting Coach O in there to help out with the recruiting and to help defensive coordinator Baker out on that side of the ball. You know, his mark is on the defensive line, and we could really use whatever Coach O can give in a positive manner as an assistant is much needed there. So he'll be helping out there. So that's big. Shout out and a clap to Coach Orgeron. Good seeing him back with the Tigers. All right, man. Of course, and of course, fam, we heard all of the stuff we talk about, like what Lane Kiffin said about having issues recruiting at Ole Miss. This is not nothing new. I've heard players say that they don't want to play for Ole Miss because of the history of the Ole Miss University and stuff like that. It's just what it is from a historical standpoint. You can't get around it. But there are some guys that decided to go, some that really didn't want to go. And also I've heard about the small town feel about Ole Miss. Ole Miss is in Oxford. It's a beautiful town, very country, rural type thing. The Oxford. If you ever been to Oxford, been up there to Ole Miss and Oxford. It's a college town. You can look at the campus is beautiful. The campus is well manicured. It is a beautiful campus, but it's a small college type feel. It's like going at Auburn. If you ever been to Auburn or you've been to some places like that, it's a small town feel. And unless you're playing out of Tuscaloosa and at the University of Alabama, which history makes it bigger, you sometimes you feel like if you're Lane Kiffin, you could be the big fish in a small pond. At LSU, a place where multiple championships have been won, whether it's Nick Saban, Coach O, and others, you're not the big fish, right? You're trying to live up to the legend of catching up to Nick Saban and Coach O and those type of guys by winning your national championship and taking a team to prominence. And not only that, but just winning multiple championships as a head coach at LSU, which has not been done under one guy. We had multiple coaches do it, but Lane Kiffin, if he can stay on game and stay on code, we might be able to do something positive. So we seen the recruitment. He kind of said that. Just being honest, a couple of people got offended by it at Ole Miss. He kind of issued an apology and kind of walked the thing back. I didn't know about issuing an apology, but he kind of walked the thing back, right? He didn't mean it in a way where it's just sprinkling a little salt in the wounds when we do play Ole Miss. But nonetheless, with the vanity, after the Vanity Fair mistake, but it's just one of these things where, he moved on and he got on the podcast called, let me get these folks' podcast right. It's called Pardon My Take. It sounds like the ESPN show, but it's on another network. And Coach Kiffin was there and he was talking LSU football with those gentlemen, and I like to play some of that for you if I can. He explains what happened in his departure, and then we'll go over this article by Tiger Rag. Shout out to Tiger Rag, man. Appreciate you guys. Here we go.
Do it any differently?
Yeah, I think I would have just came in and said, okay, I'm leaving. I'm very appreciative of everything. I spent a lot of time right there fighting to coach the team, trying to keep everything together. Totally respect their decision, the athletic director, for that not to happen. I get it, but I was trying so hard.
Hold up, Sam. There we go. Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on with this crazy stuff.
Keep that together. Like, hey, let us all coach. Let this whole thing, let's see if we can go win the whole thing. And so obviously that didn't happen that way, which then created a lot of it because that was the whole night and morning of that. I'm leaving. I'm very appreciative of everything. I spent a lot of time right there fighting to coach the team, trying to keep everything together. Totally respect their decision, the athletic director, for that not to happen. I get it, but I was trying so hard to keep that together. Like, hey, let us all coach. Let this whole thing, let's see if we can go win the whole thing. And so obviously that didn't happen that way, which then created a lot of it because that was the whole night and morning of that, and then what's going to happen, and then the team meeting moved back and all the things that went with it. And then you couldn't have a normal team meeting because at that time it had, gotten into all that, and then, naming of Golding of the head coach. And so, I mean, I don't know how much it would have saved,
right?
Just going in and saying, instead of trying to say, hey, I really want to coach, hey, I'm not coaching, I'm taking the job, and appreciative. But I think you still you definitely would have had the airport scene and all that. And but as tough as that is on so many parts, on them, on me, on walking with a 12-year-old nephew that they're yelling at, all that stuff, that also speaks to the SEC.
Oh,
I mean, where else does that happen?
Definitely.
That the people that for 6 years loved you, want to build a statue, chant for you at the last game to stay, and then they hate you like that.
Yeah.
And then you land, whatever that is, probably 45-minute flight, and then you land here, and the people here that when we would play here were yelling at me, hating me,
Yep.
and saying everything I did was horrible. We love you.
Yeah.
That's also the beauty of the SEC.
Yeah, and that's a good one, man. What Lane Kiffin was talking about, and to be honest with you, we talked about this on the previous streams about what that meant, and I kind of gave my take on that because I felt like a lot of blame should have went to the athletic director for the Ole Miss team, the athletic director for Ole Miss University. And I thought he should have got a lot of blame because Lane Kiffin actually wanted to coach the team and finish up. And the guy just said, no, you got to go. So you can't take none of our coaches. He ended up taking coaches and players with him. He didn't take as many as he wants, but at the end of the day, it just became a bitter thing. You know, it was tough. But nonetheless, he talked about that and gave his take on that with Ole Miss. And it just makes an excellent battle that's coming up when we face them in the upcoming season. But yeah, Keith Carter should took a lot of blame for this. I think he should have took. A lot of people was mad at Lane Kiffin, and rightfully so. A lot of people saying he should have told the players, and I agree with that. He should have told the players, you know, that he was gone. But if he wanted to leave, he can leave. It's his decision, but just going the right way. I get that part of the game. But he says, yeah, I think we would have come in and said, I'm leaving. I'm very appreciative of everything, blah, blah, blah. But no one wanted to listen. They couldn't get past the fact that he was leaving Ole Miss and hated LSU. And please remember, two other coaches who got new jobs last season did exactly what Kiffin wanted to do. John Summerall kept coaching Tulane in the playoffs after getting the Florida job before losing to Ole Miss, and new coach Pete Golden in the first round. And Bob Chesney kept coaching James Madison in the playoffs after taking the UCLA job before losing in the first round. Now, neither Summerall nor Chesney left for school for the school's blood and bought a rival in the same conference that it is in the inferiority complex about Lane Kiffin did in going from Ole Miss to its historically speaking daddy, LSU. But it wasn't like Kiffin was asking to do something completely crazy. I said I spent a lot of time fighting to coach the team. I trying to keep everything together. So, right, regretfully so. But this is the first time kind of talking about that situation in a calm environment. He said, I don't believe the golden fantasy. Ole Miss best chance to win national championship last season when Kiffin remained as the head coach while moonlighting as LSU coach. Golden did a great job getting the Rebels to the semifinals, but he was a rookie head coach given the keys to a 11-1 DeLorean. Totally respect that decision, athletic director, for that not to happen. I get it, but I was trying so hard to keep that together like, hey, let us coach. And that's what I was saying is he was fighting. Originally, reports were saying that he was fighting to stay there to finish out the season. It was that damn athletic director that you should blame because they had to kept coming back to Lane Kiffin to ask him permission for his coaches. You know, they could have possibly won a national championship had the guy not got so soft and emotional in his decision behind Lane Kiffin and kept it business. Of course, you won't leave Ole Miss. It's a smaller university, go to more credential LSU. Of course. But he got all emotional, and that's what it cost him. So LSU, I think they're going to beat the brakes off of Ole Miss next year. They'll be motivated to do it. And it's going to be a good physical fight between the two, to be honest with you, because there's a lot of players on both sides. And it's going to be a rivalry unlike others. So, but all that stuff, all that speaks to the SEC, blah, blah, blah. Where does that happen? Not too many, but it happens, you know, everywhere. Most places where you have rivals or competition is going to happen. It's like going from Alabama to Auburn or Auburn to Alabama. You're going to have a problem, right? If by that support base. And what's amazing how people forget about nearly the exact same thing that happened to Ole Miss last season. It happened to LSU at the end of the 2004 season when Lane Kiffin was 29-year-old pass game coordinator at USC during an LSU basketball game. In 2004, Miami Dolphin beat writer Joe Chad called me and told me that he thought the Dolphins would be hiring then LSU football coach Nick Saban, who won the national championship the previous season. LSU hadn't won one of those since 1958 on Paul Ditzel, much like Ole Miss hadn't won like that under Kiffin since the 1960s under Johnny Vaught. I asked two LSU athletic department members about Saban and the Dolphins at the basketball game, and he laughed at it. He laughed it off because each went to LSU and had worked at LSU for most of their professional lives and couldn't understand why anyone, including Saban from West Virginia with no ties to Louisiana before he arrived at LSU, would want to leave LSU. That's how these people think. And Saban soon left after coaching the team through the bowl. LSU people act like they don't remember this. And yes, Saban was not going to a blood rival border school, but hold on, still there was a lot of hate for Saban. Yes, it was. As the Dolphin story became real, how could he do this? How could he leave LSU? Why would he want to leave LSU? I remember this. He's just chasing the money. Former LSU Sports Information Department assistant said he's a snake in the grass. That's what some of the supporters said. Funny, these LSU people thought nothing of Nick Saban bolting from Michigan State after the 99 season for their precious school. That was okay. You know, that's what the beat writer is kind of throwing in there. Glenn Gilbo, you know, given the game, and man is right. He says, yeah, we don't hear that part of it, right? That's true. What's good for the goose, right? But he says, but then realized like coaching the college game better was better at it. So he took Alabama job after 2 seasons in Miami, and Baton Rouge burned just as hot as Oxford. Believe me, in January of 2007, I remember this, Saban did exactly what Kiffin did in November of 2025. He went to a blood rival that his old school has long been an inferiority complex about. Alabama's historically been LSU's daddy, as LSU has historically been Ole Miss's daddy. 2 years removed, yes, but wouldn't you have known that talking to LSU fans when Saban left for Miami for Alabama? Yep, 2 years were erased instantly. He's going to leave Alabama after a few years too. A jilted Tiger Athletic Foundation member proclaimed Saban stayed at Alabama for 17 years and retired following the 2023 season after winning 6 national championships and going 13-5 against LSU, including a 21-0 win over the Tigers in New Orleans International Championship game back in January 9th of 2012. And he recruited LSU players to Tuscaloosa like no one before or since. As soon as Nick Saban took Alabama job in 2007, November 2008 was circled on with blood in Alabama at LSU, just like September the 19th of 2020 has been circled with blood with LSU and Ole Miss. Saban was hung in effigy the night before the game. His wife, Terry Saban, worried about security. The entire city of Baton Rouge basically hyperventilated over the week before the game. Then during the 27-21 Alabama win in overtime, just like it's going to be this year in Oxford. Only Ole Miss supporters already hyperventilating. It's going to be a week before some of the ill-advised comments by Kiffin about Ole Miss in a recent Vanity Fair article. The difference is Nick Saban never said anything bad about LSU or Louisiana in any of his interviews. He never did. He even said, Coach Saban said in an interview with Ryan Clark, and I forgot whatever the little show, the podcast that the man does with the 2 other guys, that he had regrets about leaving LSU. He literally said, I regretted leaving LSU. He said that. Never heard him say that before until that interview. He mentioned the racism he faced from white people while I was LSU's coach. And this is what he had never done before. He never mentioned the racism he faced from white people while with LSU coach. He did refer jokingly to LSU fans as coon asses once, but like many people, including narratives, consider coon asses a sentiment to a Cajun. And that's what it's about. Saban, for the duration of his time at Alabama, included in early years when he left the hate, said nothing but how great a time he had at LSU. It was LSU that turned his career around at Michigan State and had 1 good year left with 4 average ones. Just like Ole Miss turned around Kiffin's career and life, that's all Kiffin needed to talk about concerning Ole Miss in the Vanity Fair interview. That's what Nick Saban would have done. So this is a really solid article. If y'all don't read the article in its entirety, man, it was actually, the man made a great point too in breaking it down. It's Glenn Gilbo. Shout out to Glenn of TigerRag.com. They did a wonderful job. Y'all guys keep up the great work at Tiger Rag, man. And they covered it perfectly. All right. So anyway, fam, that's what I got for y'all. And I got one last article I'm going to share via USA Today. College football. It's about Lane Kiffin, LSU Tigers add transfer portal quarterback. We got another one, another quarterback for the portal here at LSU. Let's get right into this article right here by J.D. McCarthy. Lane Kiffin and LSU have made another addition to their quarterback room ahead of the 2026 season. We got a new QB, y'all. Middle Tennessee State transfer, Caden Martin. It might sound familiar, right? Committed to LSU on Saturday, announcing the news on social media. LSU will be Martin's fourth school after he began his college career at Miami back in 2022, where he played football and baseball. He then transferred to Eastern Tennessee State for the 23 season and redshirted on the baseball team. He transferred to MTSU for the 25 season, where he served on the football scout team as a redshirt junior. He was ranked as the 1,380th overall player, but number 87 overall in quarterbacks, according to Rivals industry rankings, when he signed with the Hurricanes. He has not played in a football game since he started his college career and will have one season of eligibility for LSU. Kiffin has overhauled LSU's quarterback room this offseason ahead of his first season in Baton Rouge. Martin is the fourth transfer they've brought in. The biggest addition was Arizona State's Sam Levitt, who was one of the top players in the transfer portal. They also added Hussein Longstreet from USC and Landon Clark from Elon to fill out the depth chart. While Levitt is expected to be the starter in 2026, his status at the start of the season is unclear as he recovers from injury. He's battled through injuries throughout his career, making his depth behind him even more extra and important. So you can see right here, Caden Martin here, and they're bringing him in here. Now, Caden Martin is the relative of T. Martin. Y'all probably remember T. Martin, the quarterback who won a national championship with the University of Tennessee. You know, he comes here and he'll be the fourth quarterback there. So Lane Kiffin getting this transfer must mean something. Now, just to get some backdrop or some information on T. Martin for the family members to know some of his measurables in terms of what he is. Hold on, let me see if I can pull up his stat sheet right here. Hold on just a second. Okay. He is 5'11", and he's listed as a quarterback / utility player, which they tend to want to use him. One season of eligibility. He's 5'11", 231 pounds. So he's kind of short, but he has a lot of weight to him, a lot of girth. Fame, and now he is the son. He's a relative. He's the son of T. Martin, who's the legendary former Tennessee volunteer quarterback that led the Vols to their last national championship way back in 1998. So, you know, he's also the half brother of former Clemson wide receiver and NFL player Amari Rodgers. You know, that's another mark to kind of add to you. And like we say, he's a dual sport athlete that not only plays quarterback, but, you know, he plays different things. So we'll see what LSU is going to do with him as he entered the transfer portal and finally committed, you know. So he projects as a thick, athletic build, could see him utilizing special teams as a fullback or utility roles, giving him as a running back. But he's a guy that you can use him as a quarterback, so there's some application there. But he will start off at the bottom of the depth chart with the aforementioned quarterbacks. Like I said, we were still watching closely what Sam Levitt's his status will be for week one when the Tigers started the regular season off. We'll see what all that goes. But it's going to be interesting to say the least, man, as we get a new transfer quarterback here, you know, to our room, man. So that's big. That can help us as well, based on what happened with Sam Levitt. Anyway, man, shout out to y'all. Appreciate y'all being it. Y'all feel free, hit the like button and the sub button and hype this stream. Please feel free to hype us up. And also do me a service by not only hitting the subscribe button, but I want to know what you guys think. Put it in the chat. Let me know how you guys feel about these topics that we covered. How do you feel about Coach O returning to the Bayou? What do you think about the addition of T Martin's son, adding him to the quarterback ranking? What do you think? What do you think about Sam Levitt? Do you guys believe that he'll be ready for the season? Also offer thoughts on the article we covered from Tiger Rag. Y'all put it in the comment section and let me know how you feel. Also, do me a service by feeling free to share the stream on social media. It helps us out here at Tuff Tiger Talk as we continue to develop our show and move forward to what's going to be an exciting season. And like I've said before, I think this will be a golden era of football for LSU. Tuff Tiger Talk's been doing this for about 8 years now, and we keeping it real deal about our beloved Tigers. So with that being said, we always appreciate you guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button and the notification bell, hype the stream, and I'll be back later to cover more on our LSU Tigers. Much love. Go Tigers.
To the Tuff Tiger Talk channel and stay up to date for all things LSU football.
Hey, New Orleans! Whether you're catching up on Saints news at Jackson Square, checking Pelicans scores in the Garden District, or staying updated on LSU while grabbing coffee in the French Quarter, there's one place that keeps you connected to everything that matters in our city. From Bourbon Street to the Superdome, from Preservation Hall to the Riverfront, New Orleanians are staying in the know with thehootitdaily.com. Your daily source for Saints, Pelicans, LSU, and all the sports, music, and culture that makes our city special. At work downtown, at a game in the Dome, or just relaxing by the Mississippi, wherever life takes you in the Big Easy, you can stay connected. Because when you're from New Orleans, you don't just live here. You stay in the NO. That's stay in the know. Visit thehootdatdaily.com and never miss what matters most to Who Dat Nation.
Welcome to the Pro Shop, where we create authentic NOLA-inspired clothing for men, women, and children. From Saints jerseys to Pelicans gear, everything's crafted right here in New Orleans. Whether you're shopping the Pro Shop, the Pel Shop, or the Pro Shop Kids, we've got your whole family covered with genuine merchandise that represents our city's spirit. Check for links in the description section below or in the chat.